In this video, I'm going to do an unfiltered and unbiased off-road review of the Surron Ultra Bee. So the first thing you'll notice about this bike is that it's electric. And what that means is there is no clutch and no gears. So is that a good or a bad thing? Well, it depends on what kind of rider you are. For a beginner off-roader, this is the perfect bike. You don't need to worry about clutch control. You don't need to worry about changing gears at the right time. You can just focus on the off-road. If there's something that's challenging, like a hill climb or a steep downhill, and you're worried about the clutch and the gears, then you can't focus on what you're doing with your body position and your technique. Where this bike allows you to focus on that, which really helps if you're a newer off-road rider. However, if you are an expert or advanced rider and you're taking this bike on slippery, steep hill climbs, which I did on the weekend, it does have its limitations because being able to use the clutch to deliver power to the bike properly and preventing wheel spin can help a huge amount. And the fact that this bike is light with no clutch means it wheel spins really easily. But the fact it is light also has some positive benefits. A lot of people struggle to pick up the bike if they make a mistake or control a big heavy dirt bike. This bike is so light and nimble that you are able to change the direction of the bike, or if you make a mistake, you're usually able to save it. It's also a shorter bike, which means you can put your legs on the floor when you're going up hill climbs or down hills as well. And that really helps you out if you feel like you're going to crash, you can save it because the bike is light and it's low to the ground. So this bike is 85 kilograms. You compare that to your average dirt bike, a KTM or a YZ two-stroke, they're 104 kilograms. So it's a lot lighter. Now the question is that good or bad? And again, it depends on what kind of rider you are. If you're new to off-road, having a light bike makes it a lot easier to control. And if you're just doing easy, flowy trails, this bike is perfect. You can get around tight corners so fast and you can change the direction of the bike so easily because it's small and light. But the fact that it's so light does make the bike feel a little bit less planted. So when I accelerate aggressively on this bike, I do feel the rear end stepping out a lot easier. So you really need to grip with your legs on this bike. And the fact the bike is so narrow and small, to me it makes it a little bit harder to grip, especially as I'm a taller rider. But if you're a beginner or you're a bit shorter, then this bike might be perfect in those situations. Okay, so let's talk about something we don't normally need to talk about when we're doing a dirt bike review: battery life. So if you're riding around a motocross track like we have just over there, the bike battery lasts about 3 hours. So on average, people ride for 10 to 20 minutes at a time. You can basically ride all day on this bike around a motocross track and you don't need to worry about the battery. But if you're doing off-road trails in the mountains, in the woods, the battery life's only 3 hours. I would say on average, people ride for 5 or 6 hours at a time when they're doing long trails or cross-country riding. And for that, this bike does have its limitations. Okay, so the final thing I want to talk about on this bike is the speed. Now, I know it looks just like a little toy, like a BMX or a mountain bike, and you're probably thinking, this bike's not going to compare to my 450, get it out of my face. But the bike has 18 kilowatts of power. When it hits turbo mode, it's 21 kilowatts of power, but that only lasts for a few seconds. But on a bike as light and as small as this, it rips your arms off. I'm not kidding. If anything, the bike is too fast. So if you're worried about the speed, don't be. If you're a beginner and you are worried about the speed rightfully, it has 3 settings. So you have eco mode, drive mode, and sports mode. Sports mode for me is almost too much. If you're a beginner, I would probably start it in eco mode. But the fact it has 3 modes means the bike is suitable for any level of rider, which is perfect. So my final thoughts on this bike: if you're a beginner to intermediate level rider, then it is fantastic. You should definitely have a go. If you're an advanced rider, I think it does have its limitations, especially when it comes to more difficult terrain. Big hill climbs, big jumps, the bike has its limitations. So if you are an advanced rider and you've been put off by my thoughts on this bike, you can still have a lot of fun, especially on easier flowy trails or a small, simple dirt bike track. You will have a lot of fun on this bike. If you enjoyed this video, check out my video on screen now. And if you want to have a lesson in Hanoi with Dirtbike Academy, check out the link in the description below. Thank you. And this is where I forgot to mention that you can rent Surrons from Dirtbike Academy. So if you're in Hanoi and you fancy a go, give us a message.